For years, Michaela was struggling to clear her acne and nothing was working. Does that sound familiar? But look where she's at now. It is literally mind-blowing progress, so I asked her to come on the channel so she'd be able to share how she finally cleared it up. So let's jump into this interview.
I think this was probably the best decision I've ever made in my whole entire life. Um, I can't stop smiling when I'm talking to other people, like when they ask me, "What did you do?" It just brings me so much joy, just looking back at my journey and the fact that there is hope and there's always hope.
Before you started, you had said, I've tried every treatment for acne in the market, and then I've seen your results and I believe in them. What things had you tried to get rid of your acne with?
Oh my gosh, I have literally tried everything. So I think the first time I ever tried treatment was in like middle school, and my mom ordered Proactive like off of the TV, and she was like, "Let's try this." Hated it, didn't do anything. It was super expensive. So high school rolls around, still dealing with acne. Started going to the dermatologist, and I'm on antibiotics. I'm on topicals, like everything you can think of, and I my skin was burning and I was just so frustrated and I gave up again. So joined the Navy and they start throwing all the same treatments at me. I did 2 rounds of Accutane actually. And those were the worst periods of my life because for those of you that don't know, Accutane is a terrible drug. It is so harsh on your body and there's a lot of side effects and for it not to cure my acne. So 6 months after my last treatment, I just felt completely just down in the dumps. I didn't want to leave the house. Like my cystic acne would give me the appearance of just like having huge, like swollen areas on my face. It would kind of change the shape of my face in a way too. And then I stumbled across your Instagram page and that's when everything kicked off. So.
It's such a relatable story. I feel like most people have done the same process, go to the dermatologist and they go step by step, antibiotics, and then eventually possibly go into Accutane. And I remember doing the exact same thing. And I wish I would have known what I teach in this program because there's a few things that if I would have just tried those, I probably would have never needed to go on Accutane. So thank you for sharing that. My next question for you is, what was the worst part about trying to heal your acne on your own before you started using the Acne Method?
I think the worst part was all of the hype into whatever I was trying. So I would get my hopes up with whatever new method I was trying, whether it be proactive or any new, topical face wash or cream that's advertised like on social media, and looking at some of the results that some of the successful few that I've tried that product, and me feeling that same way, saying, okay, maybe I can be like that and I will have the same results with this, quick band-aid of a fix. And time after time again, just going through the same motion of, that having that hope in the beginning, just for it to never work and, money later, like wasted money later. And then just to have, the face full of lesions and acne and, all of the things that come with that. So.
Yeah, it's really hard when you get your hopes up and then try something new and then it doesn't work again. Each time it makes you more calloused and have even more of a guard up before you try the next thing. And eventually you get to the point where you just don't believe that anything will work.
Yeah.
So this is very relatable what you're saying.
For sure.
So what led you to look for a better way to get rid of your acne?
Honestly, I don't think I was prompted to look for anything. I like stumbling across your page was by chance. And I probably would blame it on the algorithm or something because I'm always looking up like, oh, different acne results or, different treatment methods. And I think my algorithm just kind of placed you right in front of me. And that's when I like started looking into it and I was like, okay, like there are more things than just medication. There are more things than chemicals that will heal you. And it's not just healing from the outside in, it's healing from the inside out. And that's like, I think the huge key that I had never even thought of I mean, we're force fed, everything that social media gives us, and that's not always the correct information. And I think I was just falling under the, kind of toxicity of social media, like believing what you see, until I found something that was legit. And it was like, okay, you need to start healing yourself from the inside out. And I think that was just, that missing piece of information. So that
I love
really
that you said that.
changed
It's
my life.
I'm so happy about it. The general, like what people do, what they're pushed to do is to try and find the right, skincare product, like the right cream that's just going to cure your acne.
Mhm.
But it's if you can turn off the source, like the reason you're getting your breakouts, then you don't have to. It's like if you had like a leak, like a pipe that was leaking in your house, and instead of trying to turn the water off, you just tried to find better and better towels to soak up the water. But why not just stop the water from coming, you know?
Right. Exactly. And that was the huge piece of information that I have literally been missing the past, like, I don't know, 15 years. So it's insane.
I love that. When did you realize that you had hit rock bottom and needed to find a new approach for your skin?
Okay. I think the big moment, I can't remember what we were going to do. He was my fiance at the time, but my now husband, I think we were getting ready to go out with friends, or we had plans or something to leave the house and, go out into the world. And I was getting ready, I was putting my makeup on, and I was just looking up like how to color correct redness and all of these different things. And by the time I was done with my makeup, like I could still see all of my active like cysts. I could still see everything. It was just like a different color. And I was so frustrated because the whole night we still went out. Look, like I actually went out and tried to just, suppress my feelings and everything. But the whole night, the only thing I could think about was how my face felt. And like smiling or laughing or talking to people, my like the first thing that hits my brain is, oh, they're looking at my face, they're staring at my acne. And there's been a few other moments where I've been wearing like hats, like for my uniform because I'm in the Navy, and those hats would rest like on my forehead where I had like those active lesions, and it would be so painful. And that was probably like less than a year ago. So I think those two moments were probably the most rock bottom, where I was just like, I can't, I don't know what to do. And I had no other answers. And I would like just come home and like cry a little bit and just be super emotional about it. And, you know, God bless my husband. He is wonderful. And
Mhm.
he would just pick up the pieces and do his best to just try to make the situation better. But he can't necessarily relate to me in that sense because he's never dealt with it. So it was just kind of like, I have no one to talk to about this and I have no answers. So I don't know what to do. So very frustrating.
What was it that made you to actually go ahead and decide to try the acne method?
I kind of just ran out of options. I tried, every medication you can possibly think of for acne. I've tried all of the, over marketed, topicals that you see at Target or wherever. I kind of was just on Instagram one day, and I saw your page and I started looking into it and seeing some of the success stories, and like that kind of clicked in my head, like you don't heal your acne from the outside in, like most times, like 9 times out of 10. So I was reading into your page a little bit more and kind of realizing like, okay, I don't know everything there is to know about healing this. And I think this is potentially, an option for me. I think this is going to work. So that's when I started reaching out and we kind of kicked everything off. And lo and behold, this was the key that I was missing. So
Do you think that the acne method has helped you save money and time or effort?
Absolutely. I think the Acne Method has definitely saved me probably thousands of dollars in the future because I my answers are, in the product that I cook in the kitchen. They're in my, how I do things throughout the day, how much water I drink. I don't have to go out and spend hundreds of dollars in products and go to, different specialists and all of these things. I don't have to do that because the Acne Method has given me the answers and I have the tools to, create this, you know, acne free face now. As to where before I was spending, hundreds, maybe probably thousands of dollars out of pocket in different, facials and, you know, topicals and all kinds of stuff. And I don't need to do that anymore.
You and I both know this, and everybody who's watching is gonna be able to see the photo so they can look. But in your own words, what specific results did you get with the acne method?
I think the biggest result that I got from the acne method was the minimization of active lesions. So prior to the acne method, I would have new cysts popping up every single day.
Hmm.
I would wake up and there would be, an inflamed like nodule on my head, and it was very painful. And I had no control over it. And then the next day, I would have another new one, and it was just this constant cycle. And now I wake up and I don't have to worry about checking my face like in the mirror every morning for new lesions. Um, my face also retains moisture so much better now than it did before. I don't have to like layer on moisturizer, like different moisturizer after moisturizer, to try to get, some kind of glow to my skin. And now it's just, I put my moisturizer and SPF on in the morning and it looks glowy all day. So it's great.
It's crazy the difference. I've showed everybody. Like I showed my mom recently, and she was like,
Mhm.
why is her face so like shiny and nourished?" Because in the
Uh-huh.
before photos, it doesn't look like that at all. It looks much drier.
Very dull.
That's amazing.
It is.
We know how excited you were when you first started seeing results. How long did it take until you started to see those results?
All right. So week 3 came around and I cut gluten out. And that was one of the big steps. And people don't normally cut gluten out of their diet because gluten is in everything. So I, stayed true to the program. I cut gluten out. We changed literally everything that we had in our kitchen, and we were making different recipes, all kinds of stuff. And I think it was probably halfway through that week when I started noticing I had no new lesions. I had, the acne on my face was healing acne, and my face was retaining moisture, and I just looked, and I was honestly like acting like a whole new person. So since week 3, I have stuck with that, and it has literally changed my life.
All right, a quick note I want to add here is that gluten is just what worked for her. The Acne Method comprehensively walks you through many different steps, not just diet, so that you can find what your acne triggers are. For some that's food, for some that's lifestyle changes, for others it's skincare habits, or it's one of the other 10 steps. You are going to have to just try it yourself to find what works for you. Okay, back to the video.
You had a wedding recently.
Yes.
Can you describe the emotions and feelings you had with how your skin has changed when you went to your wedding recently?
Like so many emotions. I'm almost speechless to like think about it. So one of the huge things, so we went to my grandparents' like property in Georgia. All of our loved ones, all of our friends came to us, and as soon as some of my friends saw me, and mind you, I haven't seen some of these friends in probably 4 to 5 years, and like lifelong friends, we just haven't lost touch a little bit. The first thing that they noticed when they saw me was, "Oh my gosh, Michaela, like your skin, you're glowing. Like, yes, you're a bride, you're supposed to be glowing, but your skin is clear. Like, what are you doing?" So I would kind of let them know, like, "Hey, I'm going through this process." And I kind of like told them exactly how I was kind of fixing it, and just different things that I've learned. And they were just so proud of me. Same thing with like some of my other family that I haven't seen in a while. They were just appalled because they're all super used to, how my face has been, how my skin has been growing up. And they never thought anything of it because it's just Michaela. Like she just has acne. That's just how things are. But the fact that I, you know, was able to bounce back from that was amazing. So,
Now, on the other side of it, having gone through the whole program, do you think this investment in yourself was worthwhile? And what would your advice be to someone who might be considering doing the Acne Method, but they're kind of on the fence?
I think this investment was probably the best decision I've ever made in my whole entire life. Um, I can't stop smiling when I'm talking to other people, like when they ask me, "What did you do?" It just brings me so much joy. Just looking back at my journey and the fact that there is hope and there's always hope. If I had advice for anyone, it would probably be just to keep, let's see, that there is hope probably, because I think that's the main thing I struggled with before starting the Acne Method is there is an answer, there is hope. You just haven't found it yet.
Are there any final thoughts? Is there anything that you'd like to share that I haven't asked you yet?
Hmm. That literally anyone struggling with acne, just please trust the process and go through the Acne Method, because I would never think of myself as like promoting something if I don't believe in it. I'm not going to tell someone to do something if I don't trust it and I don't believe in it. And the fact that like I know me and I'm saying all of these things, I wish so many more people like knew about this and they would take the first step and taking that first leap and trusting the process and going through the motions until they figure out, what their answers are, because there's always hope. And I didn't have that hope. And I never thought there would be hope. And I just would literally stand on a mountain and scream this to everyone. So for as long as I can, because the way I feel right now and the way that I can just live my life and not worry about, what other people think of me has literally taken the biggest weight off of my chest. And I'm just able to like actually live my life. So it's amazing.
All right. Now that you've seen Michaela's powerful success story, hopefully you are willing to give the Acne Method a try yourself so that you can be the next success story. Thanks for watching. Good luck.